What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I swear, whenever I go ahead and discuss this topic, I get absolutely demolished each and every time, and that is talking about aim assist. Now, trust me, I have nothing against aim assist, and I think that controller players should have it for pretty much all types of arena shooters, and that's coming from someone who has played on a controller pretty much his whole life. I just recently started playing mouse and keyboard, maybe like 5 years maybe now, which is a decent amount of time, but the rest of my life has been on controller only, so I completely understand that it's something that is, needed when it comes to playing a lot of these FPS shooters. But a lot of us cannot deny the fact that ever since Modern Warfare 2019, once, crossplay was introduced, aim assist got cranked through the freaking roof to the point where it's not only unbearable for a lot of mouse players to, go ahead and have to try to compete with that nowadays, but it's unbearable for the controller players, people who have been, getting used to aim assist their whole life, players who are good at the game. Even the pros are saying it's way too overtuned. And it doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter what, I say or who agrees with me. Everybody still comes at my neck saying, oh, you have no clue what you're talking about. You're just a cranky PC player, although I've played more on controller. And as I stated, I understand why it's viable. And all I'm asking is for it to be tuned down, But, it doesn't matter. People always get stupidly defensive. But here we are. We finally have probably one of the most popular content creators out there, Faze Jev, pretty much sharing the exact same opinion. And I'm hoping that with more people coming out and discussing this, maybe the overall community can understand why a lot of us claim it's OP and why it's not bad to tune it back down to what it used to be. But ladies and gentlemen, of course, before we go and dive deep, if you guys are interested in more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. Post twice here, once at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Pretty much everything FPS or even third-person shooter related. Shoot, I'm going to be discussing a ton of Arc Raiders since the server stress test. It's going to be dropping in about a couple of days now. So if you guys want to stay up to date with all this type of content, subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And we go for around about like 4 to 5 hours at a time. We have open lobbies. You can go ahead and chat it up with me about any topic that's, on your mind. If you guys are interested, got a link to my Twitch channel down in the description of this video. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I actually have 2 clips for you guys. One from Faze Jev and also one from Nadeshot. I know Nadeshot has said a lot of controversial things, in my personal opinion, and a lot of takes that I've completely disagreed with him on. But, he is speaking a little truth here. So I'm going to show both clips back to back, and then we'll come back and actually discuss.
Oh, yeah. These guys are very frustrated to play against.
I mean, in their butt cheeks, so they're saying that they're being a little bit more reserved in their gameplay.
If you miss one bullet in this shit, you're fucked. Genuinely. Everything Tron was saying was true.
Understand that this aim assist change, it will affect pretty much everybody. The thing is, if you are good at the game in general on controller, of course, this aim assist nerf will actually help you overall, because the stronger that aim assist is, the harder it is whenever you go and challenge somebody to actually survive that gunfight. A weaker aim assist makes it so even the worst players won't be able to just beam you across the map, basically accidentally. So the game will feel a lot less laser beamy overall for everybody. So even if you're not that good at the game, you don't have to worry about every single time you decide to actually put yourself out there. There's no guarantee now, depending on, how much they actually nerf this overall. Maybe it won't be that crazy. Who knows? You're no longer going to get melted by each and every single person that you see. This nerf will make it so you can actually get away from gunfights more quickly, and you basically won't die nearly as fast. A lot of people were talking about the TTK overall on Black Ops 7 and stuff. I think that the TTK might feel a little bit better overall if everybody wasn't absolutely melting each other. So we'll see what they do with this overall. I know that aim assist is a really touchy subject. I know that it is, but I'm telling you right now, this is a good thing and healthy overall for Call of Duty in general.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it from both Nadeshot and Faze Jev. I gotta be honest with you guys, though. It is pretty funny watching Nadeshot hop on mouse and keys and finally witness how wild it is. And I know a lot of people are always like, oh, well, you get your whole arm. But I say it time and time and time again. First and foremost, if the movement was toned down a bit, it wouldn't be an issue. But since the movement is so sporadic, it's a very hard to track. And I always tell individuals out there, if you genuinely do not believe me, because I'm not trying to be a hater, I'm not trying to say, oh, well, this is way too open. I'm just trying to spit facts here. If you genuinely want to see, the difference between, the current AA we have within Call of Duty and also, the top-notch PC players, look up the best tracker you could possibly find on Google. Just Google up, amazing tracking, in the AIM Labs or, whatever, Kovacs, wherever you want to hit up, and just see the top percentage and how flawed they actually are, and then look up just a mediocre COD player, who plays on controller. Not even the pros. You don't even have to go to the pro level. Just look up a mediocre player or even a low-end player and see the difference in tracking and how difficult it is for when movement happens like that for a mouse player to actually stay on target. Every single time someone switches their strafe pattern, a mouse player has to recorrect their aim. It doesn't stay on it. They can't just magically guess where the target's going to be moving. They track. Player switches directions and strafes the opposite way. And then, that's where the course correction happens. And you're going to miss a bullet or two. It's natural. It's literally just the natural way of playing on a mouse. And with how the current AA is, paired with the movement, that's not that, like Nade Shot said, he agrees with Shroud. If you miss a singular bullet, you're done, because the other opponent is not going to miss a singular thing. Even the lowest bracket of players, people who barely even know what's happening, will still get those random occurrences. Maybe not all the time, because, it's not like they mastered aim assist and they become gods. But, they might get a random moment, like Faze Jev was mentioning, just sitting on the other side of the map, and AA just works in their favor. They land every single bullet on you when they probably shouldn't have, because they probably don't really know how to aim. And it ruins your overall streak because of that. It is tuned way too high, ladies and gentlemen. And as I stated before, this isn't coming from someone who just wants to stomp on controller players, because that's not the case. Even if they tune down AA, I guarantee that's still going to be the dominant form when it comes to Call of Duty, and over half of the pro players are still going to absolutely stomp everybody on mouse. Everybody. Mouse, it's fun to play COD on, but it's not going to be in the competitive scene anytime soon, if not never at all. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that AA isn't bad for COD, but it got to a point where it's so highly overtuned that there is no error that you could possibly make and still be successful in the gunfight. It's not going to happen. You have to be pinpoint perfect every single fight you get in, or else you're going to get ultimately screwed over compared to back in the day in old school Call of Duty. Yes, aim assist was there, but it wasn't cranked so freaking high to the point where players indeed had their flaws and they would miss shots and they would have to, learn how to aim with the analog sticks and not solely rely off of the AA. There was a time like that. You could actually look up some of the footage. I saw it a little while ago, seeing pros go back over to Infinite Warfare, and they were missing. They were literally whiffing every single. They could. It looked like a kid's first time ever touching an FPS game. I couldn't believe my eyes. But those were pro players doing that, missing all of those shots. It blew me away. But again, it's proof of how a lot of players have gotten accustomed to it. And I think those are the ones who are mostly defending this right now, are the ones who got very used to it, and it's just another day for them. But a lot of the pro players and people who used to play OG COD and know, the skill factor of what this game used to require when it comes to aiming, they don't like it. They said, it's not just PC players, it's not just mouse players trying to stomp on. No, none of that noise. Controller players just simply don't like it. Just take PC out of the picture altogether. If PC was never here, this AA wouldn't have been introduced. I'm just saying, it would have not been introduced. And if it was, the controller community would be pissed, because even if it's controller versus controller, you're taking away that skill gap between a top tier player and a low tier player, because the low tier player can still get completely lucky and land every single shot without even having to learn how to track you. You could do all the movement in the world, but that AA is going to track you. And again, they might be a 0.50 KD and you might be a 3+ KD, but you're still going to get mopped because of it. It's just, how it's been designed. So it got to a point where, a lot of controller players as well just don't like it, because it takes away the skill expression. It takes away the learning curve of getting better at Call of Duty and actually learning how to aim with your analog sticks and work around the AA that you currently have. All of that stuff goes out the window with what we have right here, right now. So I know people get very defensive when it comes to this discussion, but what Treyarch is doing with, the aim assist nerf within Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is extraordinarily good. It's really, really good. Not for PC players, but for controller players. It's going to bring back that skill gap between controller v controller and make it a lot more entertaining to also watch at the same exact time, because you're not just going to see people with sticky aim all the time. You're going to see people who know how to aim, who know how to actually engage and, how to work the sticks. It's going to make the Call of Duty scene a whole lot better at the end of the day. And I'll say this as well. If it really is that much of a problem still, they just got to go ahead and perfect the input-based matchmaking. Just do it already. Just make it so, PlayStation can play with Xbox, and if PC, wants to only verse PC, PC can verse mouse and keyboard. Or people who plug in a mouse and keyboard into their console can verse PC players as well. But give us some, good, convenient input-based matchmaking, and everything will be smooth. PC players won't hate it. Console players won't hate it. I feel like a lot of these changes have been made because either the publishers or the developers want to parent the overall community and try to do what's best for us, but who cares? Just give us the freedom to pick what we want to pick. They probably think it might affect queue times, it might, affect PC, maybe not being able to find lobbies. Who cares? If that happens, then it happens. But allow both console platforms to just squad up with one another, and PC could squad up with other PC players, and just keep it at that. If it's really that big of a problem, doing that will resolve literally everything that's going on right now within Call of Duty. But ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. I just want to share with you all what Faze Jev and also, Nadeshot went ahead and said about the overall AA within the Call of Duty experience, and I hope people can finally understand that people aren't just complaining to complain. There's legitimate criticism behind it. The AA has been so highly overtuned that, forget about mouse players, forget about them. Let's just talk about console v console. You will become a better player because of it. It'll make you enjoy the learning curve more. You'll feel like you're actually getting better at the game instead of the game getting better for you. And I think that once we get back into this rotation of things and people start slowly adapting back to what AA was like in Call of Duty, we're going to start seeing, again, a lot more skill expression, a lot more people who are going to, get better at the game. Some people might get worse, and if they want to put in the effort, maybe they'll get better as well. But overall, for Call of Duty, this is the direction to go, and Treyarch, in my opinion, caught a huge W when it came to this overall adjustment. But, ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. Post twice here, once at 8 in the morning Eastern Time, and also a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. If you guys are interested, I'll link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.